So this is kind of a fun topic to talk about, and it's who will be number one at the end of the year. So let's look at the current list of ranked wrestlers and which one of these ranked wrestlers, which ones, if any, will remain number one by the time March rolls around at the NCAA tournament. And I think actually a big chunk of this list will remain number one. So let me just read down the list real quick, and then we'll go through and see who will stay number one. So at 125, we have Sebastian Rivera. 133, we have Stevan Micic. 41, we got Yanni. 49, Kolodzic. 57, Jason Nolf. And actually that Kolodzic, I'm going off a little bit, but that's actually will be Ashnault now. Jason Nolf at 57. 65, we got Vincenzo. 74, Mark Hall. 84, Miles Martin. 97, Bo Nickal. And 285, we have Gable Steveson. So those are all your number one ranked wrestlers right now. Of course, the biggest change this past weekend was whenever Ashnault beat Kolodzic to earn that number one spot. So which of these guys will be number one at the end of the year? Well, I think, first off, 125, we're going to have a change there. Rivera is number one, and he deserves to be number one. But Lee, he's out. He's out for blood. He wants that title. He wants to be a 4-time national champ. And, of course, Rivera still stands in his way, as well as a couple other guys at 125. But Lee is out there. I think he's taking that number one spot at the end of the season. 33, right now, like I said, it is Stevan Micic. My money, and this is a crowded field of studs. My money right now is actually on Dayton Fix from Oklahoma State, and that's just my personal pick. We've seen him wrestle well all year. We've seen him go back and forth with a couple of these guys, DeSanto, Soriano. Nobody's really wrestled Micic yet, but he's wrestled tough all year. I see Dayton Fix coming in with the first, freshman year strong national tournament. So I think he's taking that spot. But either way, I think at 33, Micic has shown some strength, but that's really anybody's field to take. So at 41, I think Yanni, he's winning that. He's staying number one. 49. Will there be a change? So originally when I looked at this list this past week, it was Kolodzic. Now it's Ashnault. So I think Ashnault will stay number one. He showed dominance in his win over Kolodzic, and so that's why I think he's remaining number one. At 57, Nolf, he's taking the cake. He's winning. 65, Chenzo, toss up. But the funny thing is, I bet a Penn State guy, I always root for Penn State. A couple years ago against Imar, whenever he had that crazy national finals, whenever he pinned Imar, I bet against him. And from that moment on, I said I will never bet against Vincenzo again. And here we are. He's in the hunt for a third national title, and I'm not betting against Chenzo. So you got my vote here, Chenzo. Get that national title. At 74, we have Mark Hall. This is tough because you got Mark Hall and Valencia both at 174 looking for that title. Valencia, as a heat from Arizona State, we saw he beat Mark Hall last year for a national title. He lost in the semis 2 years ago, and Hall ended up winning the national title. And this year, I think we could see those two again in the finals. And I think, last year's Heat showed dominance over Mark Hall. This year, in Rec Hall, Mark Hall showed dominance over Zahid. And I'm pretty upset that I had to miss that match. But, of course it is Rec Hall. It's going to be a different match on the stage of the national finals come March. But I think Mark Hall will pull off that win very, very slightly. I give the edge to Mark Hall. So let's go to 84, and that's Miles Martin. I think he really wants that national title this year, now that he lost it last year to Bo Nickal. I'm keeping Miles Martin at number one at 84. 97, Bo Nickal. That's something that could change this week, in that Bo Nickal and Colin Moore, who's number 2 from Ohio State at 97, are wrestling in the dual meet come Friday. And I think I still give the edge to Bo Nickal. I think he showed dominance against everybody he's wrestled so far this year. And I think Nickal will remain number 1 at 97. And at 285, we have Gable Steveson. So will Gable Steveson, as a freshman, remain number 1? I say yes. I say definitely yes. He will remain number 1, and that will actually give us 2 of the Apple Valley guys, Mark Hall and Gable Steveson, who will be number 1 national champs this year. So that's my list on who I think will remain number 1. Is there anybody who you see really changing out? How many out of the 10 right now would you say will remain number 1? Of course, I got that tweet from Flow Wrestling. They tweeted that out. I thought it was a fun thing just to talk about a little bit. So those are my results there.